June 4th, 1942, 14:20 hours. The USS Yorktown makes a fatal tactical error that dooms 141 sailors. Captain Elliot Buckmaster orders the carrier to maintain station during renewed Japanese air attacks. Instead of conducting evasive maneuvers, believing his damage control teams have restored full operational capability, the decision is catastrophic. The Yorktown's earlier bomb damage had compromised her structural integrity, making high-speed turns impossible without risking hull failure. 2 hours later, at 16:20 hours, Japanese torpedo bombers from Hiryu find the stationary carrier and deliver the killing blow. The Yorktown does not die from superior enemy tactics, but from a command decision that prioritized offensive capability over survival. Recently recovered flight deck logs reveal Buckmaster knew the carrier's limitations, but chose to maintain the illusion of combat readiness. What did the captain know about his ship's true condition that made him gamble 2,900 lives on a damaged vessel? The answer lies in Engineering Report 47C, filed by Commander Clarence Aldrich at 13:45 hours on June 4th. The Yorktown's bomb damage from the morning attack had fractured her keel plates and compromised her steering mechanism. High-speed evasive maneuvers would risk catastrophic hull failure, but Captain Buckmaster faced an impossible choice: report the damage and remove the Yorktown from battle, leaving Enterprise and Hornet without adequate air cover, or conceal the limitations and keep fighting. Buckmaster chose to gamble. He ordered his damage control teams to restore the appearance of combat readiness while privately limiting the ship's tactical options. What flight deck logs reveal is that Buckmaster knew Japanese torpedo bombers required stationary targets for successful attacks, and he chose to give them exactly what they needed. This decision was not made in isolation. It was the culmination of a desperate race against time that began nearly a month earlier. On May 8, 1942, the Yorktown had already sustained significant damage during the Battle of the Coral Sea. Naval engineers estimated repairs would take a minimum of 90 days in a stateside shipyard. But the Pacific Fleet could not afford to lose a carrier for 3 months, not with intelligence suggesting a major Japanese offensive at Midway was imminent. On May 27th, Admiral Chester Nimitz made an unprecedented decision. He ordered emergency repairs to be completed at Pearl Harbor in just 72 hours, less than 1/12 the time naval engineers had requested. The pressure was immense, the timeline impossible. Yet failure was not an option. The very next day, over 1,400 shipyard workers swarmed the Yorktown, working around the clock in 3 shifts. They patched, welded, and reinforced what they could, but time constraints meant they focused primarily on surface damage and operational systems. Commander Joseph Duckworth, the ship's chief engineer, noted in his personal log, "We're painting over cracks that deserve full hull reconstruction. The Admiral wants a carrier. We're giving him the appearance of one." This ominous assessment was classified and would not see the light of day for decades. By May 30th, the flight deck had been patched and flight operations were restored, but critical internal frame damage remained unaddressed. Deep within the carrier's hull, weakened bulkheads and compromised compartments were merely reinforced rather than properly rebuilt. On June 1st, Yorktown was declared battle-ready despite these incomplete repairs. Admiral Nimitz himself came aboard and, knowing the precarious state of the vessel, told Captain Buckmaster, "She only needs to last for this one battle." The next day, Task Force 17 departed Pearl Harbor, with Yorktown's true condition classified as top secret. Only senior officers were fully briefed on the ship's limitations. The crew of 2,900 sailed into battle, largely unaware of the compromised vessel beneath their feet. The morning of June 4th brought the first test of the hasty repairs. Japanese dive bombers from the carrier Hiryu scored 3 direct hits on Yorktown's flight deck and internal spaces. One bomb penetrated deep into the ship before detonating, causing significant internal damage that further weakened the already compromised hull structure. 2 other bombs detonated on the flight deck, starting fires and disabling the carrier's boilers. For all appearances, Yorktown was out of the fight. What happened next would become the stuff of naval legend. In just 90 minutes, Yorktown's damage control teams performed what seemed like a miracle. They extinguished fires, patched the flight deck, and restored power to 5 of the 6 boilers. By 1:30 in the afternoon, flight operations had resumed. This extraordinary recovery was a testament to American technical skill and determination. But it created a dangerous illusion. The Yorktown was fully operational when, in reality, she was hanging together by threads of steel and determination. At 14:20 hours, Captain Buckmaster received the classified damage assessment that would seal the Yorktown's fate. Commander Aldrich's engineering report 47C laid out the stark reality that the combination of unrepaired coral sea damage and the morning's bomb hits had compromised the carrier's structural integrity. The report concluded that high-speed evasive maneuvers risked catastrophic hull failure below the waterline and recommended maintaining steady course and speed if enemy aircraft approached. 5 minutes later, radar operators detected another wave of Japanese aircraft approaching from the direction of the Hiryu. Standard naval protocol demanded immediate evasive action, rapid turns and speed changes to complicate enemy targeting solutions. But Buckmaster now knew such maneuvers might tear his ship apart from within. The captain faced the most difficult decision of his career: to acknowledge his ship's limitations and likely doom her to a torpedo hit, or to attempt evasive action and risk the vessel breaking apart under her own momentum. At 14:32, Buckmaster made his choice. He ordered Yorktown to maintain course and speed, contrary to standard anti-aircraft doctrine. Senior officers questioned the order, but Buckmaster revealed the truth to only his executive officer. He said, "We cannot turn her hard without risking structural collapse. We will fight with what we have." This fateful decision was recorded in the bridge log, but with no explanation for the deviation from protocol. Now we understand why. In a painful irony, Yorktown's damage control teams had worked so efficiently that by 1545, flight operations had resumed, creating the illusion of full capability. From the air, Japanese reconnaissance planes reported the carrier appeared fully operational, a testament to American resilience, but also a death sentence. The Japanese believed they were facing a different carrier, not realizing the crippled Yorktown they had struck earlier was still in the fight. At 16:12, torpedo bombers from the Hiryu began their attack run. Under normal circumstances, the Yorktown would have executed a series of hard turns to throw off torpedo targeting. Instead, she remained a relatively stable target, managing only slight course corrections that did not stress her damaged hull. At 16:20, 2 torpedoes struck Yorktown's port side, precisely where the morning bomb damage had already weakened internal bulkheads. The effect was catastrophic. Flooding began immediately in compartments already weakened by the morning bomb damage. The fatal flaw in the rushed Pearl Harbor repairs was now revealed: interconnected damage that would sink a carrier designed to withstand such attacks. Within minutes, the ship developed a severe list to port. By 1645, the list had increased to 26 degrees, and power was lost throughout the vessel. At 1700, Captain Buckmaster faced his second impossible decision of the day. With the Yorktown flooding uncontrollably and listing further by the minute, he ordered the crew to abandon ship. The evacuation was orderly but heartbreaking. Men who had worked tirelessly to save their vessel now had to leave her. By 1730, the majority of the crew had been evacuated to surrounding destroyers. Remarkably, of the 2,900 men aboard, only 141 would lose their lives in the attack and subsequent sinking, a testament to the crew's training and discipline. As darkness fell on June 4th, the Yorktown remained afloat but mortally wounded. The cover-up began almost immediately. Official reports emphasized Japanese tactical superiority rather than the carrier's pre-existing damage. The true extent of the pre-battle damage was classified, and engineering reports disappeared into secured files. Families of the lost sailors were told their loved ones died defeating a superior enemy force, not because of compromised repairs and command decisions that prioritized offensive capability over survival. For 2 days, salvage teams attempted to save the wounded carrier. On June 6th, a skeleton crew returned aboard and managed to reduce the list from 26 degrees to 19 degrees. Hope briefly flickered that the Yorktown might be saved, but fate had other plans. On the morning of June 7th, the Japanese submarine I-168 penetrated the American screen of destroyers and fired 4 torpedoes at the crippled carrier. 2 struck home, delivering the final blow. By 7:01 in the morning on June 7th, the Yorktown slipped beneath the waves, taking with her the evidence of the compromised repairs and the impossible command decisions. For decades, the questions persisted. Why could the repaired carrier not survive torpedo attacks that other American carriers had weathered? Why did Captain Buckmaster abandon standard evasive protocols during the afternoon attack? The families of the 141 lost sailors never received complete answers. The truth remained classified, buried in redacted reports and sealed testimonies. The official narrative emphasized heroism and sacrifice, which were abundant and genuine, but it obscured the structural and command realities that doomed the carrier. It would take 56 years for the full truth to emerge. In September 1998, oceanographer Dr. Robert Ballard led an expedition that located the Yorktown, resting on the ocean floor at a depth of 16,650 feet. Remotely operated vehicle ROV footage revealed startling evidence that corroborated the long classified engineering reports. The wreck showed clear signs of pre-battle structural compromise, evidence of incomplete Pearl Harbor repairs that had been painted over rather than properly addressed. Forensic analysis of the hull fractures confirmed what Commander Aldrich had reported in those critical moments on June 4th. Naval architects examining the ROV footage concluded the damage control teams at Pearl Harbor had done remarkable work given their time constraints, but they had not had sufficient time to properly repair the Coral Sea damage. The evidence supported a new understanding of Captain Buckmaster's decision-making. He had not been negligent in maintaining station during the afternoon attack. He had been preventing a potentially worse disaster. Following this discovery, Freedom of Information Act requests uncovered previously suppressed engineering reports that painted a complete picture of the Yorktown's final hours. These documents revealed Captain Buckmaster had been placed in an impossible situation. He had been ordered to take a partially repaired ship into combat, then forced to choose between tactical orthodoxy that would likely tear his ship apart, or maintaining station and accepting increased vulnerability to torpedo attacks. Expert testimony from naval historians and architects confirmed what the evidence now made clear. Buckmaster had not gambled 2,900 lives recklessly. He had made the best possible decision given the constraints he faced. The newly discovered evidence provided historical vindication for a captain who had carried the weight of this decision to his grave. Finally, descendants of the Yorktown's crew gained closure, understanding the true circumstances that had claimed their loved ones. The story of the Yorktown teaches us about more than just a pivotal World War II naval battle. It reveals the impossible choices that face military leaders in wartime, choices between tactical honesty and strategic necessity, between by-the-book procedures and the messy realities of combat with damaged equipment. Captain Buckmaster's dilemma exemplifies the burden of command, leading with incomplete information under ultimate pressure, knowing that lives hang in the balance with every decision. Modern naval operations have incorporated these lessons. Damage assessment protocols now place greater emphasis on structural integrity, rather than just operational capability. Battle damage reporting has been standardized to prevent the communication failures that contributed to the Yorktown disaster. Perhaps most importantly, the Navy has embraced a culture that values honest assessment of capabilities over maintaining appearances of readiness. The Yorktown Memorial at Pearl Harbor now includes updated information that contextualizes the command decisions made during those fateful hours. It honors both the sacrifice of the crew and acknowledges the complexity of command in wartime. The ship's legacy is no longer just one of heroism and tragedy, but also of the profound moral complexity that faces military leaders in their darkest hours. Captain Buckmaster faced an impossible choice with imperfect information and the weight of the Pacific War on his shoulders. The Yorktown's crew died not from command failure, but from the cruel mathematics of wartime necessity. Their sacrifice becomes more profound when we understand the true constraints facing their captain. For more investigations into the hidden truths behind naval battles, subscribe to Ocean Attacks. Join us next time as we explore other wartime decisions that change the course of history, one impossible choice at a time.